This is a wake up call. Hello and welcome to Wake Up Call. Today being Tuesday. So, keeping up with the industry. This feels very keeping up with the Kardashian real time show sort of thing. Maybe we should even have a TV show named Keeping Up with the Industry. It's going to be really fun to see what goes on in business, in construction, in management, in just industry generally, finance, and all of that. That's like great ideation off the top of my head, for a really nice show. But for now, it's a wake up call, keeping up with the industry. So I was thinking about it, and I I assessed what it would be like to build in private. So the Sir Isaac Newtons of his times and all the other key players who built machinery, the Da Vinci's who built art and machines and everything conceivable to man, who had theories, the philosophers, the Socrates who sat down in private and did stuff. And I wondered, I saw that there there were advantages to building in private and doing things in just by themselves. I thought of how much they would achieve, with less distractions, right? But then I thought about societal meetings and town halls and for example, society of beekeepers, of gardeners, and of botanists, all of those things, all of those gatherings where they met and there'll be a teacher or somebody just sharing an idea of, or a result of an experiment they carried out in private. And I felt, well, they may have spent a good chunk of their time building in private, but they still connected with industry players and they still got updates and they stayed updated with trends and what was going on in other key parts of research. And because I was thinking about it, why do I have to boggle myself down with newsletters and watch what other people are doing? But I found out that, or I realized that that was a different perspective. That was a perspective that was not altogether helpful. So, one of my favorite things to say is two truths can exist. Yes, building in private without distractions can be very helpful, but also knowing what's going on out there so you do not reinvent the wheel, like my mentor PFM would say, is premium. They both work hand in hand. So what this means is that having those newsletters is good. Following events in the industry to hear what other people are saying, perhaps to be triggered by an idea or a concept that another person has postulated, or something that somebody else has tested that did not work, or to tweak something that somebody else has done that did not work and tweak a process, tweak a pattern, and have a different result. Because we cannot solve a problem at the same level of consciousness where it was created, right? Popular. So I think that keeping up with the industry is just as good as building in private, building in solitude, solitary ways. And I find that with the different personality types, or moods, or leanings, it can be easier for many people to just want to do their own thing without interference from any external source. You don't want anybody to disturb you. You just want to be behind closed doors and do what you do best, right? You just want to work in your factory and build a new recipe, build a new packaging recipe that would change the world and would reduce the carbon imprint and things like that. But keeping up in the industry would ensure that you're awake and alert to what other people are doing, such that you do not reinvent the wheel. This can also mean that you're collaborating with industry players, other industry players. They don't have to be the big shots. It could be somebody else who's making shoes just as much as you are, or making belts while you're making shoes, who works with the same materials as you work with, say leather, for example. Collaborating with them to see what they're doing or how they're doing it. You could be making different products from the same materials, and just the same way they're doing a certain thing can influence or impact your process and give you more deliverables and increase your productivity. I think it was The Men Who Built America, where someone invented I think it was the same way they transported, maybe they used the train system. I'm not certain now, and that's how they got the ideas for, or maybe it was shipbuilding that inspired the ideas for trailers, or it was one or the other, and I think that that's really brilliant because it opens up the industry to more possibilities. It feels like I'm very passionate about ideation. Yes, I am. But I just think that, and I think that connecting with other people helps us connect the dots because we don't know everything per time. And one thing I wanted to say to the CEO is you should not just stick with your own industry, what you're familiar with. So, where you think that you're in the business of transportation, or you're in the business of I'm trying to think of an example that has been used before. If I recall one, I would share that. Look into cross industries, look into other industries that are tangent of yours, industries that have nothing to do with what you're doing. So for example, I'm really trying to scramble for an idea or an example here. Perhaps you believe that you're in the clothing industry when you could transcend into transportation industry by crafting flight gear that can be based. So for example, rather than making clothes with flaps and big winged styled fashion pieces, you could stumble into the industry of personal aircraft, personal flying, where people would wear clothes and would be able to flap their hands together and transport themselves without walking from point A to point B. That's just an example. All to say that look into other industries as well. Don't just keep up with your industry, keep up with the industry of work, right? I hope you be well. I hope you do well. I hope you have a fantastic week. Remember, you're doing well, you're doing good, you're doing good enough. You need the rest. Do what you need to do what you have to do so that you can do what you need to do. All right. Have a great week. See you. Toodles.